Hello and welcome to this new podcast episode of Empathic Decisions. And today I'm with Niclas Hornum. Welcome, Niclas.
Welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for giving the time to participate into this interesting, hopefully, conversation. And let's start from where are you coming from?
I am coming from the land of sourdough and happiness. Apparently, I think we are in big competition with Finland about who has the most happiest people in the world. So I'm of course from Denmark.
That's lovely. I've been there once. It's definitely a nice environment. Very. It's everything. It's working, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It is. It is.
Very efficient. And this brings us the chance talking a bit about efficiency to connect with our topic in this podcast, which is empathic decisions. And you have a very interesting experience in this space because you've been through a major M&A. So I'm curious about what was your first aha moment when you realized that in your M&A process something was happening in the differences of two cultures colliding.
Yeah, yeah. So interestingly, I've been working with HR for more than 13 years, and I started that journey in the telco business. And in Denmark, you have way too many players in the market, so there was always conversations about a merger happening. And I was young, upcoming HR star, and I thought it sounded super interesting. And my boss and the vice president actually also had tried this within telco some years ago, and they told me be careful what you wish for. So, but it never happened, and I moved on. I got another job at another company, and then quickly after I started, there was this newspaper article about this merger happening, and I didn't see that coming. So you can say I got what I wanted, but at a different place. So super interesting experience, very crazy as well. So many thousands of people working on this, and yeah, it was tough, but it was interesting as well. I would say in terms of the culture class, I think one thing that I'm not going to say it went wrong, but one thing that that happened was that they probably initially thought that the cultures were super similar because it was very much the same business, and it was a good merger in the sense that they didn't compete with each other in any markets. So that was a good thing, right? Because normally, if you then have one or two or more markets where both of the companies are present, hey, if you have my job and I have yours, one of us is leaving, right? So that made it a bit more like friendly and kind, saying, hey, they are not in this market, so there's no like takeover, no hostile takeover, or two of each. So that made it very comfortable. But I think in generally, one company that was the other one we merged with had a different history. So they had been creating quite a lot of mergers during the last many years, and they kept regaining money on the stock market just by growing. So they grew that way. So they were really never profitable in that sense, and that creates one kind of environment. Maybe the funniest one, I would even say. I've tried that in other companies. It's not because you just throw away money like it was dirt, but it is a growth journey, right? So it's easier to get new headcounts, and it's easier to get a yes because you're kind of building something up. So that's quite a fun journey. The other company, the one I was present in, was much more, or they were profitable. They had a lot of earnings, and in the countries where we were very profitable, we used that money to secure growth in other countries. So in that sense, it was just two businesses with a very different focus. And I remember one call I had where there was a person, and he was kind of saying it a bit for fun, but it was also interesting that he said it. He said, "Nicholas, can you just stop? You're the only HR lead who constantly talks about budgets." And he did say it with a smile on his face, but it was also because he was maybe slightly frustrated about me having lots of questions. And the thing was really that we were going into a new target operating model, and it was the same for big and small countries. So when you looked at that, it was quite huge for a small country. There was quite a lot of positions and ways of working that we didn't used to work like that. And so it was kind of creating a lot of headcount and a lot of boxes where we were thinking, what am I going to do with this box? Like, what is this person going to do? And the truth is that once the whole thing is done, there will definitely be work to do for that person. But right now, when you need to hire the person, you just don't see it. And that was the same in the HR department, because when I started in the company, I was alone, and I built a small team. We were 3 people, and all of a sudden we had to be 10. So you ask yourself, like, okay, let's just say that I'm hiring these extra 7 people just like tomorrow. Like we needed more talent acquisition, and everything was in the pillars: 2 payroll and 2 facility and an extra business partner. So let's just say we just hire these people tomorrow. Like my problem was, what are they going to do? Like if I had if I had 7 extra people in my team tomorrow, what am I going to, like, I didn't know how to onboard them. I didn't know what they were supposed to do. And of course that was not a mistake, but of course there was stuff for them to do because things got more complicated. So I was kind of keeping on the budgets, asking them like, what is the budget? Do we have a budget? Do I just hire these people? And no one could really answer me. Like no one really said, yeah, you just go ahead and hire these people. And I was asking for what budget, when should I hire them? We have like a timeline, and no one could really answer that question. And this came because the other company, again, they had just been doing a lot of mergers, acquisitions, and they had just ramped up all the time, so they were not thinking of budgets.
This is very very interesting because you would expect from a very solid and growing organization a very detailed control environment where you kind of know what is your limit, but in this design definitely you miss the chance to collectively think about what are the right limits for the different units growing. And I also understood from the previous chemistry call we had to prepare this session that you have also an off-site experience in that space, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was kind of a bit unfair towards the company, actually. I feel like, but the other company, they always had like an annual ski vacation, which was super cool. I even met some employees. They told me it was part of their contract to have one annual ski vacation. I thought, are you really sure it's in the contract? I said, yeah, he was pretty sure it was. So that was super funny. They had a business in Asia once, and they closed that down. But when they had that business, they also invited those people to come, and it was a crazy story because they had 200 people from Vietnam that they flew into Italy to go on ski vacation. But when the plane landed, they said, "No way, we're not letting you into the country." Get 200 people from Vietnam came, and they said, "Nisse, no, you're not going skiing." Like that, they didn't believe in that. So they had to fly them to another country and book some buses that could then take them in. So it's quite fun to imagine that in your head that they were going on ski vacation with the company. So they were really serious about that, and we did the merger, and they thought, let's do this ski trip for everyone. So and I was there, and it was a fantastic event, but unfortunately, a bit after they already booked this, the company was not doing exactly as expected, and there was a lot of shareholders who were upset about that. And then boom, it was in the news that they had spent, I don't remember, 10, 14 million euros on a ski event, which was very unfair because they had 6,000 employees joining that. And all major companies do some kind of event where they bring people together. My former company also did that. It costs some money, but if you look at the money spent for each single person, it's not a crazy amount at all. But of course, if you add up and you put 6,000 people there, it sounds crazy. So I will say that was a bit unfair towards the company that it got blown up like that. But you get kind of money blind, I guess, also in some companies. And I think when I say the amount like 10 million euros, you and I, we're just gonna imagine like we had them in our hand, or we could just go and buy a Ferrari or a house. But it's it doesn't work like that, right? Because you split it out on thousands of employees. But you do get a bit money blind, I would say, also doing these mergers, because it's just big numbers. Yeah.
Yeah, I made the math because it's interesting to see that with 6,000 people, this is just a little bit more than 2,000 euros per employee. So
You
is
couldn't do your own
definitely
ski trip for that money. So,
yeah.
yeah.
But it's interesting to see that you had the profound differences in how to understand and comply to decisions that were needed to be taken around financial situations. So how did this fundamental difference show up in daily decision making?
Yeah, I think actually one way it showed up was that for us, for me, who have been used to being in companies where the budget actually mattered, like where we didn't just make any crazy decisions. We always looked at the budgets and how could we grow, but also take care of the money. You get some kind of you get somehow you get a bit proud. You feel like it's your own company you're running because you're making wise decisions, right? Because if this was your household, you wouldn't just hire 10 extra people if you didn't felt like it was necessarily. So it kind of took away this feeling of being really like part of the company, because now the company says hire 7 more people, and you don't see the need for that, and you don't see where the money is supposed to come from, but you kind of have to do it. It was difficult for me, at least, to just don't care about that, and that ended up costing me in the end, because I couldn't get clear answers on when to hire these people, and if I should do it, hire them all. So what happened was I was late. Right. So I kind of waited as long as I could, and then all of a sudden, boom, yeah, shit just hit the fan, because there was new systems that was not as effective as the other ones we have. So, and everything just exploded. So now I saw, okay, now I need these 7 people, and I maybe hired 2 of them. So now I just had to run to get the rest of them hired. And in the end, like, it wasn't my own personal money. So someone else would have maybe just said, oh, there's the target model, great, I'm just gonna throw in a lot of job ads and find these people, and 2 months from here we have a team of 10. And then they don't care if they don't have much to do within the first couple of months, because they are sure that it will grow. Yeah.
That's definitely interesting in terms of understanding the importance of aligning expectation and KPIs and goals with a common language in order to avoid situations like this. Let's shift to a different challenge now, because you share with me also that you had to close a country once, and an employee stood up and said he trusted you. So I'm very curious about what had you done to build that level of trust before that difficult moment.
Yeah, yeah. So in in HR, you get to work on a lot of exciting stuff, and you also have a day-to-day job that's sometimes not very exciting. Like, for instance, you have to lay people off, be part of these difficult decisions. But I always take great pride in that, and always say, this is going to happen. So if I was not here, someone else would do it. So I might just be the one doing this the best possible way. And one thing which was a good experience to have, even though it was a difficult situation, was yes, that we had to close down a country. The managing director called me up Saturday and I was not used to him calling me Saturday mornings at least. So I thought, why is he calling? And he called me, said, you need to sign this NDA, and there's something going to happen. So yeah, but yeah, that was a very positive story from that story. It's ready just for the movie box. I think it was quite fantastic. But I would say I had a good take on the employees up there. I had also been part of hiring them, of course, and being part of the onboarding process. And I've always been a very good listener. And in Denmark, we have a say that says, we can agree on disagreeing, and just being able to be present in situations where there's toughness and where there's emotions and where there's stuff that the employees don't like and they have a lot of emotions around. It's just important just being present there, and then we can agree and disagree, or I can tell them why the company is making these decisions. Anyway, it's not making us become unfriendly. It's actually making us become closer together, and it creates trust that you actually listen to these things and that you give them a decent reply. So I had a good take on these employees, and what happened was we went up to the country, flew up there in the morning, gathered all the employees, and then we told them, I told them, this is unfortunately happening. And I told them we will take good care of you. We already, of course, had prepared a lot of stuff, and we'll really be a good employee here as best as we can in this difficult situation. So there was silence. But then there was this guy that you mentioned, and he stood up all of a sudden, and there were like 30, 35 people in the room. And he stood up and then he said, you know what, Nicholas? I've always liked you. I've always felt you were one that we could trust, who was a real person who was sincere. And this sucks, basically. But I trust you when you tell me that you're gonna take care of this in the best possible way. It is what it is, but you're gonna take care of us and do this the best possible way. I trust you in this. So where do I sign the paper? So I could have found a lot of worse things he could have said in the situation. This was actually a very good thing, and I was surprised. I had goosebumps. I thought, "Whoa, shit!" It almost sounds like I paid him to to do that, but I didn't, and that really helped also create this safe space and a space of trust in the room because he said that. So that really helped out and make this close made the close down much easier. That there was a genuine trust, like this is happening. We're not trying to screw you around. We are going to take care of you in the best possible way. So that was it was right for the movie box. I think fantastic episode.
Definitely, and I believe that in this situation specifically, empathy is what you need in order to lead the conversation. So, can you walk us through what empathy look like in these conversation during layoffs?
Yeah, yeah. For me, empathy is really, and I said that just before, being present in difficult situations. I mean, a lot of people they don't feel comfortable when they are, well, in uncomfortable situations, right? And also if it actually doesn't hurt them. Like for instance, I was going to lay them off. I didn't lose my job. And that's one thing you also have to remember all the time if you're a manager or if you're working in HR, you have some of these difficult conversations, right? Have the respect and the empathy because this is really not about you. Like you didn't lose your job today, the other person did. So at least the thing you can do is just be present. Sometimes you just have to show to the other person or persons that you can just be there. Like you don't always have to say much. And I know this is also something that I read some articles about it. That's important for people who, for instance, if they lose someone, if someone passes away, or if they are in difficult situations, then their surroundings and their friends. What study shows is that they would always call you like, "Hey, Ricardo, like I'm sorry you lost your dog," or it could be probably more. Even more worse than that, unless you're really a dog person, then it is the worst. I'm sorry you lost your dog. Like, let me know if there's anything I can do. Right? That's a classic. Like, call me tomorrow because you have something you want me to do, right? But that's not going to happen. You don't call me tomorrow and say, "Hey, I'm super sad, and can you come and create dinner for me?" Because I can't even, like, that doesn't happen. But that's what I kind of offer you. But that's just to be nice, right? So, but being present in that situation instead of doing that and say, "Hey, just call me if you have, if you want to talk, call me." It's just being present and asking, like, how do you feel about this? And that, I totally, I understand, it wasn't my dog, but I can feel your emotions, and yeah, just being present, because the thing is, it sometimes feels worse for the other person, but it's not the person who lost the dog or the job, but they kind of feel bad about it. And I guess my HR experience, but also all my coaching experience, having talked with a lot of people about difficult situations, have really learned me to just stay calm and be present, so they feel listened to, and they feel like this person actually allows the both of us to be in the situation. So that's a very important skill, I think, both in HR, also as a human being. It's a good thing to train.
That's definitely essential. Being present, it's 100%. And I remember, even just to jump on a side topic, Michael Jordan was remembered in his The Last Dance, Netflix, very famous movie, for being always super present in the moment, being there. It's a huge gift.
Yeah.
I definitely have more questions for you, Nicholas, but time is running by, and we are almost already after the end of the time available for our chat today. So maybe let's try to pack up one last
So that
question for you in order to look back a bit to your M&A experience and understand what you could have inspired to do differently in order to bring together cultures intentionally from day one, and how will you measure this ROI of getting cultural integration from the start?
Yeah, yeah. I think it's important to do your homework when you do these things, and basically spend the time that is needed to look into the different cultures, to really examine how they are before you do this. Next to that, you can never over communicate in those situations, right? No matter how much you communicate, it's probably not going to be enough. So that's a good thing for the companies to do. Um, yeah, how do you measure that stuff? Yeah, you measure it in the dollars. You know, that's how it is, and it can sometimes be difficult, of course, to track down what the difference is or would have been, because we cannot go back in time. But I can say, from a personal point of view, I've definitely seen a lot of lot of dollars or euros being spent that was unnecessarily, probably because they didn't listen enough. It's one of the interesting things also being in HR is that you have the lines to both people on top of you and below you in the reporting lines. So you really talk to everyone and you see things from everyone's point of view. But you also see, oh, that this person is not seeing things from this person's view. So I think companies should be more open to listening to the employees. That would help and definitely make a much better business case.
Listening as a key and as a north star. I love this, Nicholas. Thank you very much for sharing this precious experience and remembering us that we never listen enough. We should always try to listen more, and it's amazing how also another leader like you that I had the pleasure to interview in this podcast episodes said exactly the same thing. Nima said, actually, my best practice to become a better empathic leader is to try to shut my mouth and to listen as much as I can. And believe me, it's not simple.
No, it really isn't. It isn't.
Thank you very much for being with us, Niclas. It was
You're
amazing.
welcome. Yeah, thank you too. Thank you.
And see you around.
See you. Bye. Bye.